welcome. Welcome to today's Board of Supervisors meeting.
Hello, I want to welcome you back to Clown in the Town television. My name is E.T. Snell, your host. Today, I'm calling on you, you folks out there, Americans, to stand up, to get involved, do your own investigation on the political arena, attend the city, county, state, and any federal meetings you can. Report to the people what's going on. You got YouTube, Facebook, a lot of other avenues that you can get the truth out there. Today, we've got some citizens that are speaking up. We have Ron Sellers, who's an activist from San Bernardino that shows up at the Board of Supervisors on a regular basis. Another one is an engineer by the name of Stephen Rogers, and he has a pretty good spin on things. And then we have another one, Mr. Reed, who speaks up on the issues out in Lucerne Valley. Basically, there's another one down there on that we're going to see on the video. Proposition 47, Phyllis Morris is our San Bernardino County public defender, and she'll tell you how to take a felony and turn it into a misdemeanor. So I want to thank you for joining us. Another clip that I like to always show on my show is Janice Rutherford Lim, a county supervisor out of Rancho Cucamonga, trying to justify giving 2-year-old children psychotropic medication. And I'll show that quite a few times to let people know not to vote for Janice Rutherford Lim in Rancho Cucamonga, and to spread the word what this evil lady's doing.
There's a lot of going on in the county, around the country actually, where greed is just going so rampant. What if we, let me give you an example. I talked to a contractor a few days ago, and he said there's a new law out now in the state of California. It's called DIR. I'm not sure what it means yet. The director or something. It costs $300 for the contractor to get licensed or whatever it is, and he needs that in order to do work for the government agencies, like schools, county, cities, so forth. And the purpose of that is mostly, as I see it, as I understand it, is to require prevailing wage to be paid to the people who work for the contractor who's doing work for these different agencies or departments. Why? Then I find it's really mostly prevailing wage, of course, is based around union salary, union wages. And so therefore you have to, so the city, the county, they cannot get a good deal from anybody because they have to pay prevailing wage, even people who may be learning, which is very important to do. And some companies can't afford to do. They have to pay taxes. But when you have tax-paid people, like unions, especially public unions, and these unions which are so connected with the various safety departments to make the people look bad. I know police officers, fire department people, incredible good people doing a good job best they can. But why are they so entrenched with the unions, for crying out loud? Do you live what you preach? Why don't you preach what you practice? How'd that go over? Or there's the example of teaching socialistic programs which teaches entitlement and control of people, like Common Core in schools, for crying out loud. They don't teach thinking, they don't teach curiosity, they don't teach individualism, they teach communistic, if you wish, rotten to the core. Does the example of teaching socialistic programs by your own actions, hiring more and more people to do fewer and fewer or less jobs in the county? What do we really need to hire? We ought to, or as people in the county and government agencies and this Common Core stuff, or the unions, maybe more equal.
That's time.
Thank you
Yes.
very much, Mr. Stowe, for your public comment.
Guys think she put me in prison on phony charges.
Please
and
address
bells
your
down.
comments to the board.
Stop that dictator stuff, man. Stop it. Just stop it right now. Mr. Zolof and Nauve Meyers, are we allowed to talk about the lawyers that are involved in this? I would like to see a report on how many issues they suck from taxpayer dollars. I know about them. I dealt with them in that phony bail scandal. Terrorist threats, restraining order. That's how they went from there into the criminal warrant. The lady didn't complain about it till 6 weeks later. If you got a dirty, filthy problem, you know who you call? Nauve Meyers, right out of San Francisco. They're the most sleaziest, dirtiest, filthiest scumbag attorneys I've ever come across.
To the
I
board,
mean,
please.
roll your eyes, because you don't want to look at me, because I know. I took a polygraph on it. It's on my site, etsnell.com. When you take a guy, an activist, and put him in prison on phony charges, and you bring these bums in here, wasn't he involved in the Speedway? I'd wet your mouth, too. Weren't they involved in the Speedway? How many things is Nauve Meyers? You ever got a dirty job? You want to get rid of the clown? Call in Nauve Meyers, because they'll put him in prison on phony charges. Phony restraining order. Wasn't complained about 6 weeks later. Titty bars. I told you I worked at them. Why don't we call them teenage entertainment industries after Smitty up there in Hesperia and that city council let him go from 21 to 18? You don't let an 18, 19-year-old kid get in them honeycombs with old men like Jay. No, I'm kidding. I mean, it's serious what's going on here. We've just depleted. Now, you want to come in and take a bigger bite. What's next? Nudist colonies? How many of those in this county? Call Nauve Meyers. You know, the difference between a lawyer and a rattlesnake is you find skid marks in front of the rattlesnake. I'll polygraph everything I said about Nauve Meyers. They are filthy, dirty, and they took that whole bail scandal and they manipulated it their way. What really happened is Feliciano Sanchez, a bail police officer, raped a woman, and so the bail police union knew they were going to get rid of him, and they were going to be like May, wouldn't bring in the sheriffs. All of a sudden, they call in Nauve Meyers. Woo, yeah, they got money. I'd like to do a little more research on Nauve Meyers, because as far as I'm concerned, man, there's some terrible, rotten, filthy, dirty people. Mr. Ovid, what do you have to do with these guys? What do you know about Nauve Meyers? You've been playing with them for a long time. You weren't involved in that bail thing, were you? I know, look at you laughing. You shook your head yes or no, so I know, I kind of feel it. But getting back to the nudist colonies, it's a slippery slope when we start regulating free speech. And that's what old Smitty and them up there, Mr. Lovingood, did when they brought in that 21 to 18. They didn't even go in front of city council. They must have consulted with Nauve Meyers. Oh, it's a freedom of speech. It's freedom of speech. Well, it's not freedom of speech. Why don't we just call them the teenage entertainment industry? Not the adult entertainment, because we allow teenagers in there. That's what they are, a bunch of friggin' kiddie brothels that you guys have allowed people to come in here and whizzle their way in with dirty people like Nauve Meyers.
That's time.
Thank you, and God bless, and have a wonderful day.
You too, Mr.
I'm, yeah.
Starts with a G, it looks like.
Yeah, I can't, no, it's Mr., oh, excuse me, the topic, pardon me, I'm going to miss that. Mr. Snell, your opportunity, please. I was looking at your comments and topics, sorry about that. Mr. Snell, your time started.
I don't know. See, I'm setting up that camera. I usually get here, but it might take me a minute. Let me get my notes. Okay, what are we talking about? Is this public comment? Oh, it's open game. Oh. Want to get short with me, huh, dude? But bringing in Wiltie, I think you need to publicly explain why you would take a guy that runs the Building Industry Association, one of the biggest problems to overcrowding, lack of infrastructure, political prostitution, and bring the BIA in and make him your head planning. So, can I get a response on that? Why you brought that bum in to run the planning commission? Thank you, that answers that question. Now we're going to jump over here to psychotropically medicating 2-year-old foster children, Mrs. Lim, your favorite. Worthy example. I look at that video every day, and it will be on my cable show and my TV show, clownthetown.com. We're going to be coming up. I hope you guys have got your kiddie cars loaded up. with kids because it's going to stop. It's going to stop. I'm going to show the whole world not only who you are, where you live, where you eat, where you sleep, where you go to church, and everything else. The buck stops here, dude. I was raised in your crappy little system. When they take girls that have been raped in foster care and then put them back in the same house with the same parent and give them psychology. Yeah, Kamansky over here. The pedophile jurist took a little boy home off the bench, sodomized him, and got away with it, and is still a judge in inland arbitration mediation. So I've been trying to grasp the reasons why you guys do this insanity. Greed, corruption, cover-up. It's got to be a higher thing than that, because to take 2-year-old children and only 46% of them go back with their families. Man, I'm telling you what, dude, you need to start a nonprofit, set it up. The van pulls up, Save a Kids, costs $200 a join. The health department's aboard, mental health is aboard, fingerprinting. So you screen these people, you can do it right then and there. At the end of the line, have you ever molested any children? Have you ever sexually? And if they haven't, by God, give them a kid. You're going to open up those floodgates, because everybody wants a kid. They just don't want to adopt them out. They become a commodity. Let me unelevate here. Children have become a commodity. Oh, Lovingood got good-looking kids. Let's snatch his. Man, we can sell him to a gay couple over. Let's give him psychotropic medication first.
To the public, not to any board member.
Yeah. Let's give him psychotropic medication first and adopt him to a gay couple, and then not track them.
Thank you for your comment.
Thank you.
Next public speaker that I have is Ms.
I will refer you back to several meetings ago when we had a presentation about how psychotropic drugs are administered in this county. We're the example in the state of how to do it right. Other counties are looking to us for how many checks and balances we have to make sure that it's done appropriately.
Can we get it back on? Thank you. Next speaker I have is Mr. Stephen Rogers.
Honorable Chair Ramos and Board of Supervisors Steve Rogers, Redlands. At the last meeting, I brought up some questions which I never got a response from the county on, but it had to do with the closed session that was held for disciplinary or other matters having to do with the CEO. And I wasn't here for it, but I guess there was some announcement that there was no action taken at that meeting. But then we come to find out that, in fact, there were probably 2 actions that must have been taken. One was that that there would be a complete review of the CEO's performance, which was described by one of the supervisors in a video. The other is that there was obviously some type of discussion about the Human Resources Director, and that there was going to be a push to try to get him to retire. So both of those actions really, in my mind, should have been disclosed when it came back in, to the public forum, and it wasn't. In fact, I mean, it was delayed, and so I guess to sort of limit the, exposure, it's sort of like a PR move. And that gets me to my real problem. I wrote on my speaker slip, I work with the Mentone Area Community Association, and I know that all the supervisors have heard me talking about that, as what the previous supervisors that sat in most of the seats. And I just want to read a letter where I probably won't get through it because I don't have enough time, but this was a letter that was requested of the supervisor from the 3rd District, and it's regarding grant opportunities for public-private partnerships. And basically in here it describes the Mentone Area Community Association as well as this the Mentone Senior Center Advisory Council, which no longer exists. It was a 501c3 that was running the senior center. So this letter is supporting us, and it was written by the supervisor. And now I think it probably violates the non-interference policy. This is the biggest problem I have with the way this county's being run, is that the constituents aren't able to go to their supervisors with confidence that they'll be able to handle issues.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Let us see what they do to other people.
Next, our next speaker, Mr. Reed.
Board of Supervisors. I come to ask for a little bit of help of getting some code enforcement for some health issues. Wastewater running from a restaurant complex next to a trailer park where some elderly people live. The odor, the stench is terrible. It is really terrible. I checked on it a week or so ago because I got a call. I checked again last week, and yesterday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 200 foot away, I could still smell the stench. We've got a situation where we've got a homeless camp in some trees under a power line. If they set that afire, we lose the whole center of town. Code enforcement's been notified on that. And then we have a place where a tire repair shop, oil change shop, is dumping our waste oil on the dirt lot. We got a wet year coming. That water's going to raise that up and take it down into that dry lake out there, and it will destroy the water there. It can be, the water can be treated and used at some future date if it's not destroyed by chemical pollutants. I'm asking the board to help us get some timely code enforcement on issues in the outlying areas. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr.
I'd like
Reed, for
to
your
ask
public comment.
the Public Defender Phyllis Morris, if you can, give us a little more description on what Proposition 47 is. So I think we know as elected leaders what that is, but maybe it's a chance to be able to educate the community a little bit more on what that proposition is and what it means to the county.
Thank you, Supervisor Ramos. I welcome the opportunity, I call it the opportunity to educate, and welcome, good morning to the other members of the Board of Supervisors. Proposition 47 was an initiative that was approved by the voters last year. And what the proposition did was that it reclassified certain felonies to misdemeanors. Those felonies are your low-level drug possession charges and your theft charges that are under $950, like second-degree burglary, shoplifting, forgery. Under the Proposition 47, an individual can file an application or a petition to the court to have this reclassification take place. The reclassification is not automatic. You have to file some type of paperwork with the court. Petitions are for those individuals that are currently serving sentence. And here in San Bernardino County, we focused our attention initially on those people that were doing time in the state prison system or in our county jails. The second group that we are currently looking at are the probationers. We receive our referrals we obtain a list from the Sheriff's Department, we obtained a list from CDC, we went through our own database and we obtained a list and we reviewed cases. To date, we have reviewed more than 10,000 cases. To date, approximately 3,000 individuals have received relief. We are the first step in the process. We also have other players that are involved in the process. I mentioned the courts, but we also have the district attorney's office. We did a review, and when we find a client that is eligible for relief, we will refer that file over to the DA's office for their approval. And if they approve, then that paperwork will go to the courts for the judge's approval. Where there is a disagreement, that case can be set for hearings. We have had very little hearings in this county. In fact, this has been a very collaborative county, and it has allowed us to do the work that we are currently doing. In reference to Kelton Toblar, he will be taken over as lead person on the project. Because the project involves resentencing, looking at individuals that have prior convictions that have been used to enhance sentences, we do need individuals that have felony criminal law experience. And that's the reason, in other words, they're attorneys. And so that is the reason for the salary. If there are any other questions that I may address, I am prepared to do so.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation and really the educational process of Proposition 47 and its effect on the county. Thank you.
And
Thank
one
you
more
for that.
thing I would like to add, I forgot to add. Proposition 47 applies to individuals that have old felony convictions. They can be 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years old. They still can file an application with the court. And we also assist in that area.
Thank you.
Thank you.